Good morning.
Morning, sweetie.
Hello, my dear. There we go. Thought I had it right, but I didn't. Now we should have a little bit of music back there at least. I can hear it. There we
Yeah,
go.
me too.
No problem. We're in control today. We got this covered. I'll make us moderators and then we can manage. Welcome back, Miss Julie Gray. I haven't seen you in a long time. How are you doing today? Getting things set up and we'll be ready to go and read in just 1 minute. 6:37 on the dot.
Good morning.
How are you? It's good to see you again.
Thank you. I was in California and that was just too early for
Oh,
me.
yeah, too early. No problem. All right. I'm just going to double check my work and then I'll start reading. Today's day 147. I will not value what is valueless.
Good morning, Tom. Can you speak, please? I can hear
No,
you. I
we
can't.
can't hear you this time. A little
No,
bit too
this
low.
time. Yeah.
Sounds like you're switched over to the headset mode instead of speakerphone mode. Almost, Tom. I hear you off in the distance.
Can you hear me any better?
Music all the way down. Oh, I can hear me through you. I can hear the echo of me.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, let me play around and see if I can figure it out.
Okay. Today might be a good day to try out a headset if you've got one. We'll work it out.
I can't hear him at all. I don't know.
I know. I can see
Okay.
him talking, so I can
Okay.
hear him because I can see his mouth moving and I know what's coming.
Okay. Great.
That's no problem. I can read this stuff and we can take care of business if we got to, just with me if we have to. No problem. Well, in spite of that, I think we're ready to go with lesson 147. So, with no further ado, we'll just continue along those lines. Well, we one further ado.
Under that?
Dad's here. He's got a call and he's going to join us in a little bit. I can see him. Well, I could see him up to a second ago. Oh, there he is again. I got a good view of the desk for half a second.
Okay.
He's okay. Everything's going to be just fine. Okay. And the chat room's open. And so, like usual, we'll get the question in there for later on discussion, things like that. And Tom and Dad will join us when they can. Adriano will be here in spirit and in Clubhouse, and it's going to be what it's going to be. It's going to be great. Today's lesson 147 is a review of 133 and 134. All of these review lessons in review number 4 start with this thought, the thing you're supposed to hold in your mind for these 10 days if you can. My mind holds only what I think with God. My mind holds only what I think with God. Mind is important here. My mind. Okay. Lesson 133 is I will not value what is valueless. Lesson 134 is let me perceive forgiveness as it is. We've had the same instructions for the last 10 days, or for this 10-day block of reviews. And it's meant to get you into a practice, into a habit, so that you're starting your day the right way. The next section of the book that Dad and I will read is the Workbook for Teachers. So we read the text, now we're doing the lessons, and then we'll read the Workbook for Teachers. But one of the most important things in the Workbook for Teachers is instructing teachers how to set up their habits so they can create good habits in their students. And this is it. This is one of the main ones. Starting out your day this way, starting out your day with these thoughts, these intentions. And so today, I will not value what is valueless. Let me perceive forgiveness as it is. Today, we will take moments throughout the day and start out our day by focusing on the first lesson and ending our day by focusing on the second one. Here, we're going to go through them a couple of times because we've got one time to meet today. And so we're going to take all the advantage of it that we can. So today, take a deep breath. I'll read through some of the notes of each of these two lessons. The first one is, my mind holds only what I think with God. And when we're done, we'll remember that we will not value what is valueless, and we will perceive forgiveness as it is. There's not going to be a hurry during the day when we take time for these practice periods at the top of every hour. Remember the main thought for this review block. My mind holds only what I think with God. The focus is on the mind, so we can get the answers from the place where the answers really are, and not egoically think that we have to come up with any kind of answer to any kind of question from us. Our main thoughts: I will not value what is valueless. Let me perceive forgiveness as it is.
Lee?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you sound great now, Tom.
okay. All right. Just want to let you know.
Hi, Tom. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
I will not value what is valueless, or let me perceive forgiveness as it is. I'm going to go with the forgiveness lesson here. I think it's going to take care of 33 and 34 nicely. So that's lesson 134. Let me perceive forgiveness as it is. I'm going to read a little bit of the lesson, and then I'm going to read all of Tom's note. The first paragraph starts out, let us review the meaning of forgive. For forgive is apt to be distorted and to be perceived by your ego as something that entails an unfair sacrifice of righteous wrath, a gift unjustified and undeserved, and a complete denial of the truth. In such a view, forgiveness must be seen, by the ego as a mere eccentric folly, and this course appear to rest salvation on a whim of egoic forgiveness. Your ego sees forgiveness as an unfair sacrifice of righteous wrath, a gift unjustified and undeserved, and a complete denial of the truth. It's this twisted view of what forgiveness means that is easily corrected when you can accept the fact that pardon is not asked for what is true. Pardon must be limited to what is false. Pardon is irrelevant to everything except illusions. The truth is God's creation, and to pardon truth is meaningless. All truth belongs to God, reflects God's law, and radiates God's love. Does truth and God's love need pardon? How can you forgive the sinless and eternally benign? The major difficulty that you find in genuine forgiveness on your part is that you still believe you must forgive the truth and not illusions. You conceive of pardon as a vain attempt to look past what is there, to overlook the truth, in an unfounded effort to deceive yourself by making an illusion true. This twisted egoic viewpoint but reflects the hold that the idea of sin retains as yet upon your split mind, as you regard yourself as a sinful little s self. Because your little s self thinks your sins are real, you look on pardon as deception, for it is impossible to think of sin as true and not believe forgiveness as the ego understands it is a lie. Thus is forgiveness, as seen by the ego's fear-based thought system, really but a sin, like all the rest. The ego's view of forgiveness says the truth is false, and smiles on what the ego falsely judges to be the corrupt sinner, as if the sinner were as blameless as the grass, as white as the snow. To the ego, forgiveness is delusional in what it thinks forgiveness can accomplish. To the ego, forgiveness would see right as the plainly wrong, the loathsome as the good. All right, that's part of the lesson. I'm going to skip over to the notes. Remain. That was a very, very, very long. Okay, let me perceive forgiveness as it is. This lesson asks we perceive forgiveness as it is. My question to you is the following. Why is the goal of this lesson to perceive forgiveness as it is rather than to know forgiveness? The concept of forgiveness can only exist in the world of perception, here. In the real world, which is the mind of God, forgiveness makes no sense and is a meaningless term. As strange as it may sound, forgiveness is not an attribute of God. You would think that if God is only love, forgiveness would be an attribute of a loving God. Yet, in order to forgive, one must first have condemned. God does not forgive because God has never condemned anything. God's love is freely given, and there is nothing you can do to stop the flow of that unconditional love. Another reason why forgiveness does not exist in the real world or the mind of God is because in order to forgive, one party must have harmed the other. This implies two things that are impossible in the real world. The first is that a oneness of all that is, the first is that in a oneness of all that is, there's nothing outside the oneness. And therefore, the concept of two separate autonomous beings is impossible. The other reason is that a oneness of all that is invulnerable and therefore cannot be harmed. Being unlimited spirit, no one can harm you or rob you of your inner peace unless you choose to allow it. If it is your own choice to allow something to interfere with your own inner peace, this means that it was your decision, and you cannot be a victim of outside forces that are beyond your control. That sentence is so important, I'm going to highlight it. The concept of forgiveness belongs in the realm of perception because perception deals with illusions, not reality. Because of this lesson's goal is to help us perceive forgiveness as it is in a relationship to this fear-based world. When we utilize true forgiveness in the world of perception, our reframed story will more clearly align with the truth of what we really are in the real world of the mind of God. Although in the world of time and space it appears that the laws of love have been superseded by the laws of fear, this is not actually the case. The laws of God supersede our ego's laws, even in our fear-based dream world. We just fail to recognize this fact because of our allegiance to the ego's thought system of lack, limitation, and separation. We confuse form with content or purpose. Form is an illusion and of no meaning. The purpose or content is the why behind your wanting to have that experience. The content is what gives value to the experience. Even in the illusion of time, the content always follows the laws of God. For example, we do not believe that to give is to receive. This world teaches that when you give, you lose what you once had. The laws of the world see giving as a sacrifice. And so the ego says that you should only give to get. Although our egoic world operates from this framework, we examine the facts. We realize that what we give, we ultimately do receive when we examine the facts. Our ego confuses and mistakes form with content. When you give fear, you get fear. The laws of God deal with content, not illusionary form. Surprisingly, this lesson says that sin does require condemnation. With sin comes guilt, and that guilt cannot be forgiven. This lesson says that if you commit a sin, your guilt is everlasting. Pardon or forgiveness is not appropriate, justifiable, or even possible to be received or given if sin is involved. But didn't an earlier lesson say that forgiveness is the key to happiness and that forgiveness offers everything I want? How can these statements be reconciled with the fact that sin cannot be forgiven? Well, in the egoic world, we understand the word forgiveness to be defined as the suspension of righteous wrath, or the giving up of the right to retribution that an injured party is entitled to receive from the wrongdoer. The party that has been wronged is entitled to retribution, but may occasionally decline to exercise those rights to the full extent that justice would allow. In this case, the victim would be sacrificing their right to retribution and would in essence be giving a gift that was unjustified and undeserved to the party that has committed the punishable act. In our egoic world, forgiveness rests on the whim of the victim. The offending party is not entitled to, nor has any right to demand, that gift of forgiveness be granted. The only thing the offending party is entitled to is everlasting guilt associated with his or her harming another. Forgiveness cannot take away his guilt, nor wipe the slate clean. The offering of penance or paying of retribution may balance the scales between the two parties, but that balancing only results in both parties harboring everlasting guilt for wronging each other. In this case, the victim's retribution may be viewed by the outside world as justified, but it still involves the taking or harming of the original perpetrator of the crime. This taking from another, regardless of the ego's justification, results in feelings of guilt associated with the restitution of the victim received. This balancing of the scale continues to perceive that the guilt associated with the sins of each party are real and everlasting. This lesson asks us to perceive the term forgiveness in a different light that more properly aligns with the truth that no one can rob you of your inner peace unless you allow it. You are not the body. You are not the body. And the world of perception is played on the game board of time. Time's a medium that gives us the opportunity to experience what we desire in perfect safety without any adverse consequences that would affect or change what we truly are. Events in this real world have no ability to change the truth that we remain as God created us, perfect, whole, and complete. We remain part of the oneness of all that is. What ACIM calls forgiveness would perhaps be more appropriately identified with the concept that if there is no harm, there is no foul. Because of the inability of experiences on the game board of time and space to change what you are, these experiences cannot harm you or another one. Harm you or anybody else. Experiences are merely tests or learning lessons to provide feedback as to what you truly value and why. If a cause does not have an effect, it's not a cause. Sin is the harming of yourself or another. A sin without a harmful effect or victim cannot be a sin. Without sin, there's no harm and nothing to condemn. Without condemnation, there's nothing to forgive. The major difficulty that the world and our egos have with genuine forgiveness is our ego's belief that we must forgive the truth that harm was actually inflicted on you or another. The ego believes you're the body, and the body is you. Only bodies can attack and be harmed. The body is actually a neutral communication device that demonstrates what your mind values. The body is a mere game token that holds a place on the game board of planet Earth. The ego does not believe that this play school of time and space is not real and only a game board for fun and learning. In the world of perception, we're actually asked to forgive the illusion that provided the appearance that someone's game token was actually harmed by another or themselves. Earlier, I asked the question, what the definition of true forgiveness is understood by A Course in Miracles. I would like to offer you a definition to utilize when you see the term forgiveness referenced in these lessons. True forgiveness does not follow the typical definition, since it acknowledges the unreality of the idea of sin and harm. After all, how can learning the truth be harmful? In time and space, forgiveness could be described as follows. I forgive my brother for all the wrongs that I thought he did to me that never really occurred. This is the recognition that there are no victims and there are no victimizers. Instead, there are only willing volunteers on the game board of rediscovering who they really are. It acknowledges the world of perception as a means for learning and reawakening, rather than a place of punishment or earning your salvation. If sin were real, it would mean that there is some outside force that could harm or rob you of your inner peace. If sin were real, you would no longer be unlimited and part of the shared mind of God. You would be changed and no longer as God created you. This would change God's will and change God. Separation would be real. If sin were possible, sin could not be forgiven, and if you sinned, your guilt would be everlasting. But sin is not real. Sin is impossible. This is why we are asked to only perceive forgiveness as it is, for in the mind of God, the real world, forgiveness is meaningless and serves no purpose. And that's the notes. So this time for me is a turning point as we get closer to the middle of the year. This review is meant to be the time when we start to wake up. And waking up in this instance, from my perspective, is waking up from the small r reality, the world that we see with our eyes, and think about with our mind, our brains and our egos, the ones where we kind of start out and we've got all these thoughts going through our heads and we start to identify with them and basically in the end think that these thoughts in this body is us. When we go to sleep at night, we have dreams where we don't have to obey any of the laws of nature, of the laws of God, or anything. In dreams, the dream world, when we're sleeping, the dreams are wide open. But the dream world we live in when we're awake, it abides by the laws of nature, it abides by the laws of God. It's still a dream from one perspective. If we're thinking about this egoically, and we're considering what we're wanting to say when we have a chance to talk, then generally those are being caught up in the ego. If you're in a conversation, you just are really thinking your own thoughts and what you want to share and waiting for your chance to just get your word in edgewise. And I do that sometimes. I'm there. Less and less. When I become present and I listen to the other person, puts me in a much, much better place. The more we stay in the present, the more we are playing the game, learning and loving life. We are playing the game of life where we have a chance to test out those theories and prove to ourselves who we truly are. And we are in a time of awakening where many of us are awakening to that truth with a big T, the shared dream we're all participating in here on earth is like a big game, the game of life, the real game of life. And yep, the stakes are life and death. That's what you're here. You get one life to live, and you get to do the best you can. But if you live that life awake and not bumbling through in the dreams of an egoic dream where you think you're a body, then you can play the game instead of suffer through life as though it's your trials and tribulations to suffer through. You're not here in purgatory. You're here in a version of heaven so that you can enjoy this time being alive. So that's my 2 cents. All right, the question for today is, if tomorrow you're walking down the street for some no apparent reason at all, some person kicks you in the teeth and you forgive that person, does that mean that event really never really occurred? remember my definition of forgiveness. Forgiveness means that I forgive my brother for all of the wrongs that I thought he did to me that never really occurred. If you forgave him, does that mean he never kicked you in the teeth? Or since he really did kick you in the teeth, and there are witnesses who will testify on the truth of your story, is forgiveness impossible? Well, this is the small R reality where somebody kicks you in the teeth. You can go to a dentist and you can get more teeth. Or you can be happy and smile toothless. But that's still not who you truly are. It's just the body. So today, become a little bit more disassociated with your body. And Tom, it's your turn, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, what we want to realize in time and space, as Lee aptly pointed out, that we are trying to be here to demonstrate and learn about our true identity. And our true identity is our spiritual essence, our individuated aspect of consciousness, where we place our awareness on what our beliefs are. And in the world of perception, which is what we're experiencing now, is a combination of the dimensions of space, up, down, depth, and then time, which is a measure of change, which means that we can now experience different things, and our beliefs. And one of the beliefs that we tend to have been indoctrinated into and believe is that we are a sinner, or that we've done something that has either caused us to be, or perhaps we were created flawed. And now we have to earn our way back to salvation. So, time and space, there's no victims or victimizers. There's just willing volunteers trying to remember the truth of what they are. And it's our lack of forgiving ourselves that binds us to this world. It's our belief that we need to do something to earn our salvation. So let's explore that idea a little today in our meditation and realize that we're a learner, not an earner, and forgive ourselves for that misunderstanding of what we are. Because whenever we believe we're an earner, we believe that we have to have a specific result, that our future happiness or reward or applause will come based on how we perform our role in getting a specific result, and that we will be judged on the result. But if we realize that we're learners, then everybody becomes actors on this stage of time and space, all playing roles to fulfill, so that people, or we all as brothers and sisters, as part of that one self, can reawaken and rediscover our true spiritual identity. So take a moment now to become aware of your body and realize that this body is a costume that we need if we're going to play on the game board of learning. And instead of seeing this fear-based planet as a place where we are an earner that needs to earn, get a particular result, going to look at it as the idea of what are we here to remember? What truth did we want to learn when we decided to volunteer in this role? So as we sit there in the body, just become aware of the body and feel the body. It's, as you move energy through it, and just realize that this is kind of like a balloon that we can blow up. And so we're going to watch the breath, and we're going to blow up this doll so that it can appear to be alive. So energy in the body, filling up with awareness, starting to reawaken as we start blowing up that balloon that we call the body. And as the air starts filling and starts activating the game token we call the body, start the body starting to see it rise as the air, the energy starts to animate the various uh, spaces that are needed to fill up this balloon token we call the body. And as we continue to fill up this balloon, it starts to take the form that we're used to. We start getting enough energy up to start filling up the arms. The body starts moving up, filling up with the air, the energy to start activating that body. And now we starts seeing enough air so that the head starts to rise. And that now we have what appears to be a fully functioning balloon that is a body. And just look at that body and realize that this body is your game token that we need to be able to communicate and hold a space in time and space. And as your essence looks down at that body, just let's go to the control panel and start seeing how it's working. And as the body sits there, start activating the body and seeing it lift up and be able to move around as you watch it, observe it, and realize that this body is just in your mind's eye is able to move and hold that space. And as it holds this space on time and space, realize that this dimension is merely a stage. And let's now take our mind and our attention and move back in time in the dimension of time and space, where our essence is not having this body. And think about what you came here for this time around. What lesson did you want to learn? What lessons did you want to demonstrate? And can you demonstrate that when you don't have this game book? How can you be a helpful person if everyone is perfect, whole, and complete. How can you be something that, how can you have needs when you don't have any vulnerability, anything at all except essence, spirit, part of the oneness of all that is? But today, as we sit there as an individuated aspect of consciousness, realize that we want to be and demonstrate what we truly are. And you are love, you are light, you are energy. But so is everything and everyone else. Light, energy, indivisible, a vibrating force. And as we all sit there without this and just vibrate our energy, realize that if we are to demonstrate being the truth of what we are, it would be helpful to have, even if it's only in our imagination, if it's not reality, to have this idea of separation, of being something so that we could be helpful. And to be helpful, someone needs to appear to be in need of help. And as we sit there in this truth of what we really are, which is an essence, we realize that you as individuated consciousness and I as individuated consciousness wish to demonstrate what we truly are. And as we rest in that disincarnate state, let's come up with a plan where I can demonstrate being helpful or being forgiving. And we realize that in that state, we need, if we're to act in that and have the actual experience of being love informed, we need to appear to be separate. We need to be something that we're not. And as we wish that, we realize that we need a stage, a place where we can come and imagine that we're something that we're not, so that we can be and demonstrate being love informed, being forgiving, being helpful, being charitable, being all aspects of what we call love. And as you and I rest without that body, we realize that we want that experience. And now we become aware of a casting call assigning roles that we can play and pretend that we're something not perfect, not whole, that has needs, that maybe is a sinner. And as we look at the casting call, we see various roles that need to be played out in this drama that we're going to call time and space. And as we look through the different roles, see that there's a role that sounds interesting, sounds fun, that sounds like it would be a good example or allow us to demonstrate what we want to be. And as we do that, we realize that we need some other actors to fulfill their roles so that we can play out this drama of time and space and have the experience of being helpful or being forgiving or being charitable. And as we look at that, we see the various roles out there, and we've decided that we want to be perhaps charitable. And now we look around and we realize that being a oneness of all that is, there's nothing that anybody needs. And we wonder who is willing to pretend that they need something, who is going to play the role of maybe being less than perfect, something that maybe has a need or appears to have needs, so that we can be charitable to them. And we wonder, will anyone fulfill that role? And up comes another soul, another individuated consciousness, aspect of consciousness, saying, I will play that role for you, brother. I will play that role for you, sister. I will appear that I am in need. I will actually forget the truth that I am perfect, whole, and complete, that I am this essence, a spiritual being, and I will play the role of someone in need so that you can demonstrate what it would be like to be charitable. And as we sit there, we kind of appreciate that role that sister or brother has decided to volunteer for, to play, so that we can actually have someone that appears to need our help. And now, after the casting call is done and the roles have been assigned, we realize that as actors, there's no victims or victimizers, only willing volunteers, playing various roles so that each can learn and demonstrate what they truly are, can hone their skills at becoming the truth and demonstrating being that essence, perfect, whole, and complete. And with the casting done, let's start returning to the dimension of time and space and realize that we need a body. And as we look at that game token, that body that we have blown up earlier, we realize that that's not us. That's not our essence. That's just a costume. And as you hover above that costume that's fully blown up and animated, let's reactivate, let's move into that game token and start feeling how the game token works, animating it, being able to move the fingers. And as you do that, you're reactivating this costume. The costume is not you, but now you, as the puppet master can move it about. It can now perform and fulfill the function of what you've decided you want to experience in this game board of time and space. And as you think back at the various roles that each of us has played in this lifetime, realize that these are roles we needed so that we could reawaken to the truth of who we are. The body is just our costume, a game token that we put on so that we can learn the lessons of who we really are. And as you realize that this is just your costume, let's put that body down and let's pull the plug and let out the air and let the air of the energy that was activating that body just seem to start escaping and see that body collapsing back onto the floor. And as you look at that now collapsed costume, just see that costume laying on the floor, knowing that it serves you well. But that's not you. And you will not mistake this game token, these costumes that we put on, to be the reality of who we really are. I, you, brothers and sisters, this world is just costume so that we can be and demonstrate various aspects and hone our skills. But the costumes are not you. The roles we play are not us. They're just learning lessons, so that I can learn to be charitable, so I can learn to demonstrate what it would be like to be someone in need so that someone could help me. Various aspects, learning lessons, so that we can reawaken to the truth of what we really are and demonstrate love and form. And as we look at those balloons, those deflated balloons, what we want to do is we want to appreciate those costumes because they allowed us to experience different things, but also forgive ourselves for the various roles that those costumes appeared to play when they perhaps kick someone in the teeth so that that other person could learn some lesson. Perhaps the lesson was forgiveness. Perhaps the lesson was that they were not the body. Perhaps it was that they deserved respect, whatever lesson it was. But we all needed other people to volunteer in their roles so that we could demonstrate the learning lessons. And they, by the same token, needed us to perhaps push their buttons so that they could hone their skills in fine tuning and polishing that diamond, that shimmering stone that was beneath and the truth of their real identity. You are an individuated aspect of consciousness. You are a diamond in the rough. And as we come into this body, we learn to polish that stone. Those are learning lessons that polish and chip off facets so that we shine our light out upon our world and become the brilliance that we are, part of that oneness of all. And with each chip of that rough stone, we reawaken to the truth of who we are. And as our brothers and sisters in our world chips away at that diamond, that another facet reawakens to the truth. And we allow this world to be the instrument where we can fine tune and polish that diamond so that it becomes brilliant. And as you look and enter that diamond, start seeing the various facets, the learning lessons that we have all brought into this awareness, and start seeing that light coming through as individuated consciousness, brilliant, shining out as you and I demonstrate the various facets of being love in form, and allow that essence, that spirit to shine out and light your world. This world is your stage to be and demonstrate and learn and reawaken to the truth. And each individuated aspect of consciousness is like a facet of that rough cut diamond, now polished, brilliant, and realize that your brothers and sisters, your world, were all part of that architectural wonder that is you, that diamond, shining brilliantly. And each has played their role in creating and remembering the truth of what we are. If we see that stone today as not perfect, realize that in the end, each is on their own perfect path. And that if you perceive that diamond as not perfect today, it's not the end. You will complete that journey, for you are the diamond. And time and space provides us the medium where we can cut that diamond and ultimately be that shining, glimmering truth of what you really are. And with that thought, realize that we are all volunteers. There are no victims. There are no victimizers. All here to polish that diamond and learn and demonstrate the truth of what they are. And how can truth be harmful? You are a spiritual being that have come here to demonstrate and reawaken to the truth. And a learner has nothing to be ashamed of, or blame, or guilt. You are that diamond, perfect, whole, and complete. And this world allows you to polish so that you become the brilliance and be the light that is your destiny. And as we realize what our purpose is, that we are not earners, we're learners. We're the polishers of that stone, and that our destiny is the completed diamond. All those facets, light coming through, shining brilliant. There's nothing to forget. There's nothing that you've ever done anything wrong. All that you are is polishing that stone. There's nothing to forget. You are the polisher of a brilliant stone, a diamond in the rough that you're carving out and reawakening to the truth of what you really are. And as you look at that body, think of that as perhaps your tool, your polishing cloth. And today, decide how you polish that stone. How will you today use that body to reawaken to the truth of who you are? And as you reactivate the body, start pumping it back up. Energy in, the body filling, reactivating, reconnecting. Energy in, the air filling up that balloon, that costume. As you start getting connected back to the game token that you'll use today to demonstrate love in form, to demonstrate how you can minimize your fear, how you can minimize other people's fear, how you can reawaken and learn the lessons, and how you can polish that diamond. The love of God in, all thoughts of guilt, sin out. The love of God in, the love of God out. Polish that down. And as you reconnect to that body, take a deep breath and open your eyes, knowing that you are that diamond in the rough. And today you're going to polish and chip off another facet and let your light shine in this game board of time, space, the world of perception. Create a great day for yourself and your world. Namaste. The God in me recognizes the God in you, perfect, whole, and complete. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Wonderful meditation. So helpful. So today, day 147, value. What is valueless? And we've made it to our discussion. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us. We get started at about 6:30 and read through our course work here in A Course in Miracles, the group that we're a part of, and meet here and talk about this year anyway, the lessons. We're going through the lessons one by one. Today's 147. How's everybody doing today? These are good for me. I don't know how things are working out for you guys, but I'm pretty happy with where we're at. And thanks so much, Tom. That was great. Janine, it's so good to see you. I've been asked to bestow on you an honor. If you're willing to take it and you want it, as part of a birthday present. What do you think?
Oh, good morning.
Good
Thank you
morning.
for that. Thank you so much. I am honored and excited to take the honor.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, how was your birthday? Did you have a good one?
Oh, it was amazing. I had a really great time. Excuse me, I'm out of breath because I'm running. I had to
That's
run out
okay.
to my
That's okay.
car
I saw
because
your.
my phone is about to die. I'm like, oh
Oh
no. I
my
realized I left
goodness.
my
Well, that's
charger
all
in the
good.
car.
We saw your beautiful dress. That was great. It looks like you
What
were
did,
having fun.
oh, thank you. I did. I did.
Good. Well, I know Adriana's in the middle of kind of taking care of Vera, and it's being quiet for Vera this morning, and it'll be her last full day with her. So I'm sure there's some bittersweetness there.
That's right. Yeah, I
But
missed you guys yesterday. I've gotten accustomed to doing this every single day. And if
me
something gets in
too.
the way of that, I feel kind of off.
Yeah, me too. I'm not sure what I'm going to do if we ever decide to stop. So at least for today, we're here one more day for sure. So today we talked a bunch about waking up. And Dad, I don't know how much you caught or what part you came in on, but today was a bunch about waking up in the lessons. I will not value what's valueless and let me perceive what forgiveness is.
Well, I was awakened earlier than usual and met with 4 other people who have decided to, with me, um, form a group of 5 that is going to, um, to put it simply, light the world on fire. This group is it's going to become an African American coordinating point for making some huge things start to happen. Uh, the man that I'm partners with in Liberia has been in the hospital. He's out now. And when he went in about a week and a half ago because of some blood problems, I told him that when you're sick, I find that when I'm sick, and I haven't been in a long time, I said something about this yesterday. The best thing is to find out maybe God just needs me to slow down a little bit so I'll listen to him and what he's trying to tell me. And in this particular call that went on for a very long time, he just came up punching and just full of energy. And at about 5:45, it's a little bit hard to take at first, but he had so many insights that he put together. Because as he said, I've had some time to think about all this, and we actually have a plan to move forward by combining Liberia with Sierra Leone, which is a contiguous or adjacent country. They share a borderline, which, by the way, has a very nice river that is provided for us to navigate together. And we began to figure things out in a way that I've never seen anything like it before. And I'm part of it, and I'm excited about it. I am integral to it, and things are about to change. And they will be far well known as time goes on, but we have the makings of something great. And I used one of the phrases that we use here, mentioned that I teach this course with others, and that is that we don't have to argue for our littleness anymore. And coming in here and hearing the last parts of what Tom was talking about in the meditation, even though I missed the original reading, it was a review, and I had reviewed it. Um, we're going to polish up some facets and make him work helpfully between Africa and America. It's a very exciting journey, that I just got launched on this morning, and with which from now on we will be meeting daily, um, to make sure that we don't let it slip by. This vision that was not only enunciated by Vernell, who had been in the hospital, that's his name, but immediately within, I would say within 15 minutes at least, shared with the same energy by everybody else in this group of five, that we've known each other for a while, but something ignited today in a way that has not happened yet. And I've been involved in this about 6 months, but it's all brand new this morning. And that's the way miracles happen. They just occur. And you can either jump on the train or you can let it roll by. Anybody can. I will be talking with them every morning before this even starts. So I am so excited right now to be back here this morning. I'm glad I did not miss the majority of the meeting because it's still going on. Tom, it looks like you finished up some whopper of some great meditation, and I will be listening to that again a little bit later on when I can replay it. As I came into this room this morning, I came across a name at the bottom who's still here, thank you, who I will be trying to talk to a little bit later. I sent him a few messages in the back channel, and he might be surprised but as to what I'm going to be telling him, but we'll be talking about it. I see this as a great day. It's a Friday. Oh my goodness, thank God it's Friday. We have 2 days to relax and reconnect with our inner being, with the Holy Spirit that resides in every single one of us, and just do all kinds of terrific things on this planet. That's how excited I am right now. It's hard to
Sounds
contain
awesome,
myself.
Papa. That sounds awesome. Love hearing you happy.
I'm not gonna hog the microphone, which I often do, but I just want to tell you that I'm excited to be here this morning with everyone. So excited to bestow on Janine her new moderator honor. That's what we're calling it, but we're actually asking you to work with us, Janine,
Definitely.
and help
I need a
coordinate
crown or
people.
something or a thing.
You've
Well, they,
got
they
it.
should
This
have
is a
a
green
thing.
badge.
Did you say a clown or a crown?
A crown, a crown, a crown. No
Because
clowns.
A
we got
crown.
some clowns here.
We already have enough
That would be
clowns.
me too. I could be a clown.
Fantastic.
Okay. Well, I'm so
Change the
excited
title
about
to
it.
ACIM Clowns.
There you go. I'll turn this back to you, Lee, and keep on participating.
All right,
Thanks.
it's going to keep on turning. It's just an open floor for anybody who feels like sharing or feels moved, and I'm just grateful you're all here. I know I need to read these lessons, and so reading them out loud with and having a minute to share with other people is all we created this space for. And we can hold it open for as long as we need to, or whatever. It's all good. So if you've got anything you'd like to share, you're welcome to. And if not, we can listen to a little music and we'll wrap it up. And everybody's welcome to come have a great day. You can come up to the top if you want to raise your hand. Anybody down below in the audience is welcome. Sometimes the little thing messes up, so I'll turn it on and turn it off again. Otherwise, I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Happy Friday, and
Yes.
we'll be here tomorrow to read 148 if there's nothing
Happy
else.
Friday. Yes, I'm
Yeah,
just happy to be here. I'm happy for you, Bob. That's really exciting news. I'm glad everything's going forward and with fresh eyes and fresh
yeah,
energy.
yeah.
And I just love the opportunity to just wake up every day to a new day, knowing we can start all over again, and just having this viewpoint um, is amazing. I'm just growing, expanding, evolving. I feel great. I do feel clowny today. I guess it's post birthday celebration. uh, excitement, I suppose. So in my picture, I'm wearing my new sunglasses. I love sunglasses.
Uh-huh.
So
They're
I got
nice.
two. Thanks. I got two new pair on my birthday. My boyfriend bought me a pair, and just had a great time. I'm still having a great time, and knowing I can just carry this type of energy all the time, not just for my birthday, but every day. So that's all. I don't have anything actually deep to say this morning.
That is
That que-
okay.
that question's a little deep though. I was contemplating it. I don't know if my mind will wrap around it right now.
It's a tough one, like the whole
It's a
kicking
very
the
tough
teeth
one.
thing. It's really meant to shake us down to this body. Do we really want to identify with this body? Do we really want to be this, or do we want to be our spirit? Do we want to be that higher sense of self that gets to watch and play the game with the token on the game board rather than be the token on the game board? Right? Sometimes in life, you want to be on the game. You want to be in there playing it for real. And that's cool. But frequently, it's helpful to take a step back and look down on the game board and see yourself as just a token playing with other tokens so that you don't have to take stuff so personally. Because a lot of times, emotionally, people will kick you in the teeth. I got kicked in the teeth a lot emotionally by my partners. And so for me, it helps to be able to separate, and it helps for me to be able to choose to look at the game as a game, look at life as a game sometimes, and then sometimes be in it and play the game. Like I'm in VR goggles and I'm really in it.
This morning it seemed, as I listened to this group, and they were all on fire. I was the last one to come to the meeting for a number of reasons, but I did get there, and all of a sudden it seemed like we're all Muhammad Ali in the boxing ring, and we're doing the rope a dope, and we're just aching to finish this off, to make something happen. It's about time. There's it's about time and getting past time into a better dimension, a better way of living. And there's a word that I've been searching for a long time. And before I was actually searching for it, I was searching for it, but I didn't know how to ask for the word. And I was trying to figure out, how can I explain this thing? Because it's a word that says what heaven is, but I experience it in a certain way. And the word heaven has too many meanings these days. And we talk about heaven on earth and all of that kind of stuff. And then you can get into all of the different spiritual or religious doctrines that say what heaven is going to be like. And as long as it's not hell, that's okay, and all that stuff. But I'm going to tell you what I came up with. And I came up with because it came to me. I did not seek it. I didn't even go to a Google for synonyms. The word is ambiance. And in my way of thinking about life, the ambiance kind of paints a peaceful picture, but also an understanding of all of the elements within the picture. The ambiance is made up and describes how all of the pieces have been put together. And for me, as I continue to study and teach the Course in Miracles and talk about it to people who never heard of it, it's been difficult to try and explain that this is not about working faster, getting more money, getting this, getting love, being in love, keeping love, getting out of a bad relationship. All of those things are things that we have to do. But when we're doing them and while we're doing them, what are we like? And what is our environment like? What is our world like? What is the ambiance? What's happening around me? Is it peaceful? Is it something that I want to continue to be here forever? If so, that would be heavenly, to use the typical way of looking at it. But what is that ambiance? How would you describe the ambiance in which you live right now? Is it full of um, little demons running around? Is it full of big demons poking in and out? Is it full of good times, bad times, good times, bad times, ups and downs? Or is it kind of peaceful? Not quite a flat line. We don't want that. We just want a nice, peaceful ambiance. And that word seems to fit right now. And I was curious to see if anyone else might want to share along those lines and see if that word means something to you that I'm suggesting it means to me. It might be a better word, but I'll just throw that out and also invite anybody who is in the audience to just raise your hand and let us know, and we'll bring you up to the stage.
I just want to say, in regards to, the example of getting kicked in the teeth, um, the- we need to, it's not something necessarily that's enjoyable. And what it is, though, it does, if we understand that we're here to learn and grow, one of the things that the kicking of the teeth might mean uh, is that we need to respect ourselves. What lesson would what would I have to believe about myself that would allow me to get kicked in the teeth? Because it's all about my own beliefs and experiences. So we're not saying that our goal is to allow someone to kick us in the teeth and necessarily to turn the other cheek. If you're getting kicked in the teeth, you have to ask that question: what would I have to believe about myself? What do I feel that I should be disrespected? Should I be uh, someone that rolls over? And it might be that you are so enlightened, so to speak, that you realize that someone needs the experience of kicking something in the teeth so that they can learn not to do that in the future. Who knows what it is, but those things
Yeah,
are
might as
just
well be my teeth then. Go ahead.
yeah, and that's the Bodhisattva or something like
If you
that.
could do
But
that without
they're
martyring
taking
yourself,
on
that'd be
someone
amazing.
else's suffering. But for most of us, we're not in that state, and the reason that we're having the experience of getting kicked in the teeth is because there's some belief that we feel we deserve it. We're not worthy. So if we look at that, what we're trying to do is from that experience, gather some feedback so that we can correct our stinking thinking about ourselves and say, no, I'm worthy. Even in time and space, uh, I need to respect myself or whatever. So just realize that we're all on our own perfect path, and we don't always necessarily know what the experiences was designed to teach us. But ultimately, when whenever we discover what that lesson was, we'll realize that we needed that teeth kicking so that we could ultimately reawaken to the truth that perhaps I deserve respect, or that I'm worthy of being loved, or I'm lovable, whatever it might be. So uh, we don't need to take this thing too seriously. And as an earner, we feel when we're kicked in the teeth that we've done something wrong, that we've been harmed, that we hold a grievance. As a learner, we realize that yes, in time and space, we were kicked in the teeth. It actually did happen. What, as on the stage, am I trying to learn? What is the universe trying to teach me so that I do not have to go through those experiences again? And when we learn the lesson that it was designed to teach, we no longer will need that experience. And so we're, just realize we're not advocating that we're running around kicking people in the teeth, but you know, it's all designed on the grand scheme of things to help us reawaken and polish that stone. And uh, so I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Well, I got punched in the face one time and stepped back and looked at him, and he was amazed that I didn't punch back. And I told my wife to call the sheriff, and that took care of that. And he probably figured out what he needed to figure out while he was in jail for a little while to cool off. And I felt empowered because I did what I did without inciting any further stupid violence, because violence doesn't really, but in and of itself, doesn't really accomplish anything. What we do after it is what it's all about. It's violent for a rocket ship on Earth to take off and go through the mountains, not the mountains, I meant to say the clouds and atmosphere and so on. It just takes an extra bit of energy, a lot of it, to get out there. But once you're out there, then you don't need any energy. You can float out in space, and it all becomes easier. So usually it seems like a lot of people go through some kind of experience that says, you know what, this has got to get better. There's got to be a better way. That's, of course, how Course in Miracles got started. I'm looking at the names of the folks in the audience, and there's a gentleman named, and I can't pronounce it. Maybe it's Uchenna. Just curious if you're actively listening at the moment, at least for this moment. Love to have you come up and introduce yourself. Tell us about your bio, because you have a very exciting bio. And I'd like to know more about you and anyone else who wants to come up and share, who hasn't shared in a while or hasn't shared at all. I know some of you down there who certainly have shared, so you're all welcome. Monica, how's your day going so far? Maybe you can chime in here. Love to have other people come on up, talk. Usually after 8 o'clock, we just kind of loosen up a little bit and talk about stuff, what we're doing, because we don't remain in the head all the time. We have things to do. That token has to work. That token that we are has to work on the board. Go ahead, Janine.
I was just gonna say what I'm doing today is what came to me was I have a friend who she sells items, resells items like handbags and really nice things, and she usually has a huge yard sale every year, and she's decided to do that more often, and she was just looking for a way to do that, and I think she wants to have workshops as well. And then I have another friend who is about to retire, and she has a hair salon on a really bustling street in Bristol, PA. And it's a cute little town, and it's really, really growing, and just one of those cool little towns. So, New Jersey is full of towns, and their main street is so cool with a nice waterfront, walking distance, like 2 blocks down. And so she's not doing anything with her shop. So something came to me. I said, and I thought pop shop. And why not put the two together? And I did. I suggested it to one, like, what do you think of doing a pop shop? I think she had done a pop shop. And I thought, well, I have a friend with a space she's not doing anything with.
Hey, I
So
don't know
why
what a
don't...
pop. I'm sorry.
Yeah, what's a pop shop?
I might be
Okay.
slow or part of the big city area.
Soda?
Okay, yeah, a
Soda
pop
pop? Yeah,
shop
soda
is
pop.
just... Yeah, it's okay. It's just like a spontaneous little I guess a selling
Oh,
event
like
or
a
a...
pop-up store.
like a pop-up store.
Okay.
And just maybe it'll be for a day or two at a specific location. And I thought that would be a great way for her to sell and a great way for my other friend with the shop to make a few bucks, because the pop shop person, I guess they'll give them a percentage of their proceeds, or either a flat price, whatever they agree upon. So, and I told her I'd help her with the advertising. I do graphic design. I've done graphic design, so it's no big deal for me to make flyers. And so it all just came together beautifully. So I'm introducing them this morning. I'm going to taking my one friend to the salon in Bristol. So that's what's happening for me. So I'm happy the spirit worked through me like that to put them together. They're both very excited about the idea. So we'll see
Well,
what
I got to
happens.
know more about this pop shop because my two grandchildren, Lee's kids, they call me Pop Pop. So if I'm going to be Pop Pop, I need to know what's a pop shop got. What do they do there?
That's cute.
That sounds exciting. Hello, Jenna. Talk to us. Come on. Tell us about your life. Tell us about the stuff you do, because your bio is really interesting to me.
Yeah, same. I've read it and checked it out. It's
There
really
it
awesome.
goes.
Go ahead, Yushena.
Yeah. Hi. How you guys doing?
Doing great,
Um,
thanks.
All right.
yeah, I'm in Scotland, Glasgow, UK.
Okay.
Yeah, so um, I don't know what's in the. I can't remember what I put in the bio, but I spent most of my life making a lot of mistakes, um, learning from my mistakes, and uh, trying to be who I think I am, or who who I think I can be, the best kind of me that I can be. That's what I've been doing all my life. It's not been easy. It's difficult. Um, Growing up, it was difficult. I felt a little different from everybody. Um, and even till today, I still feel quite, um, not quite fitting into what most people like doing, or what most people do. So I've been trying to I've been trying to just be that unique person that I know as I am. And so life has taken me through different kinds of journeys, different different things. Basically, I do more. What I do more of now is coaching, if we can call it that. Of course, I have my own job, so I do my spiritual work for free. And I just try to help people, guide people, talk to people, inspire people, while also inspiring myself. And I think the real question for me, is trying to find out what the purpose of everything is, if there's a purpose at all. What we're here to do, and yeah, so that's why I'm here listening to this discussion. I've heard of A Course in Miracles. Um, I know I've been on Clubhouse for more than a year or something. So I think I come into this room, not sure if it's the same room, once in a while, to listen in, to learn, to listen to stories, people's stories, and also to try to share my own stories too sometimes. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. I'm just learning. I'm listening. I'm learning. It gives me joy to listen to people, and it gives me more joy to share sometimes. So yeah, life is not that. I'm trying to create something that's me, something that's unique, something that is me. But it's taking quite some time. It's taking a lot of time, and I don't know if I'm ever going to get there or not. Or so I just spend most of my time thinking, meditating. I've been losing motivation of recent, losing hope, getting a little bit more confused than I was before. So yeah, I know what I'm saying doesn't reflect the bio, but I just have to say the truth, So I'm good at writing, I'm good at reading, I'm good at all the intellectual stuff. And my life has been a paradox somehow. I feel like I'm always half in this and half in that, half spirit, half human, not fully in anywhere. I don't even know if I'm making sense again. All right, let me
Makes
stop there.
perfect sense. Perfect sense to me. Keep
Yeah,
going.
same. I can relate. I feel like I have to regroup and rediscover constantly, especially as I learn these lessons and learn more about myself. I have to reframe, I guess, the way I see life and what's important. It's caused me to relook at my business and my purpose, why I'm here. And definitely, I'm with you that I really want to help people. And I see that sometimes it doesn't take a lot to help people. It's just speaking your truth as you just did. And, often we're just where we are, and that's okay. And we learn from that point and move forward, and grow and just help each other. And I'm also comforted by listening to others and their sharing, and that's why I love this room. It's just really open and honest and welcoming, and we're all learning together, how to traverse this life, and just try to be our best selves. Yeah.
I think
Thank
that
you for sharing.
the idea of trying to be me is a very interesting statement to make. Let's think about a worm in its Chris. What does the butterfly bust out of when he finally busts out of it? Chris or something or other. I forget the word,
The
but
chrysalis.
chrysalis. That's the word. Thank you. And so here's this worm. Moth. Yeah, it's a worm, and it's on Earth and it's crawling around and doing whatever it can be. And he says, "I'm just trying to be me." Well, in his case, he's got to bust out of this thing that he created around himself, probably in a sense to protect himself. Now, I'm imagining this, so please bear with me. I know that's not the way it actually happens, but the idea for us humans, those of us that think the way you're thinking, as far as I'm concerned, it's very inspiring because it's kind of like the way Michelangelo made the the great statue David. He just had to chip away the concrete that was not part of the David that was going to show up when he was finished with that sculpture. And that's what we have to do. Sometimes it's not something that we have to become, but some things that we have to divest ourselves of when we're trying to be like someone else. And then we learn how to be just what we are. And we actually start to like that even more. That's the way I see it. And I don't know many people who don't think, but maybe not even have the words to express, but don't think the way you're saying. I'm trying to be what I'm supposed to be, and I'm not sure what it is, and if something keeps getting in the way, and then you come here and you say, oh, it's you getting in the way, and here's the way out. And so we all have this umbilical cord to a new ambiance in life, and all we have to do is let nature bring us through to that. It's there, that beautiful gem of a spirit is in every single one of us that's pulling all of our strings. That we're already in charge of ourselves. We're just trying to get some of this garbage out of the way. And that takes time. It takes efforts. And sometimes we get kicked in the teeth. And if that's okay, you go to the dentist, you take care of it. You don't stand around and say, try it again. I got more lessons to learn. You get the hell away from there. But it's a good life because those kind of things don't happen very often. And it only takes once to learn the lesson of what to do. Get out of there. But I think a lot of people argue for their littleness and try to put themselves back in a cocoon because something might have popped out and scared it. And say, wait a minute, I'm not sure about that world out there. Flying? How am I going to navigate out there once I have wings? Oh, I'm going back into my chrysalis. I don't know. I'm just playing with words right now. It's what we do because that's the way we communicate on this channel. And it's a lot of fun because I think we do help other people by sharing our stories. Our stories get better, and we share because they're like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. And something Janine says is, say, you know what, that's what I've been trying to figure out, and you got it. I'm going to use that piece that you just shared. I'm going to use it in my puzzle. It's going to help complete me so I can see a better picture of myself. And all of this stuff in this Course in Miracles is all about revealing who we really are to ourselves, and that we've got a lot of potential power. Yesterday, someone was talking about, they thought Marianne Williamson actually wrote Course in Miracles, which is not true, but she certainly did more to make it popular by getting on to Oprah's show and so on. Marianne Williamson says in that book, Return to Love, how if we only realized how powerful we truly are and what amazing things we could do. And that's what the Course in Miracles is here to teach us. How can there be much better stuff than some of us being able to have miracles around us and manifest miracles? Not a magician, not making up stuff, but being, I'm going to use that word again, in the ambiance, that miracles happen around us. Then we live in a miraculous world. That's the way this world can be if we get rid of the things holding us back. And this morning, there was a fire lit, and I'm hopping on that ship because actually I helped put the ship together. And it's now going to move into a more useful and obvious role in this world. It's not small thinking that enables me to think this way. We can all think big, and we can all be part of something bigger than we are. We're not a zero. What are we? Well, we're right here. We just have to get rid of the stuff that we don't need anymore. So, Jenna, you just remind me of where I am many times. With some of your degrees and your accomplishments, you're way ahead of me. And that's great. You can help me get forward. And vice versa. That's what we're here to do. We talk and we learn from each other. We're here as learners. That's what Tom tells us in all of his wonderful meditations. We are learners. And we'll earn the money we need. Probably more than we need. Find some other use for it. But we have to learn that stuff. So that's enough talk from you, Bob. Anybody else want to come up from the audience? Happy to have you up here. We'll just move along. I'm going to be quiet now for a while. Maybe some time to think.
Yeah, thank you, Bob. You mentioned there's something you said that really struck me. Yeah, going back into our cocoon. There's always something. There's always something that I remember. Not remember. There's always something that happens sometimes that makes you want to recoil back into my shell. Yeah, and then I have to start trying to come out again. Most of the, I think I know I have a gift of intuition. This is not to brag or anything. I'm just like I've always been like this. That's why I said I never used to fit in. Never. People always thought I was weird or something. So and I still do it today, to this day. I don't know what example. Let me look for the most recent example. Okay, my wife was looking for a job, and yeah, she's been trying, getting some interviews, not getting through, just not getting over the line. And I have this. There's this intuition. There's this voice. I don't know if everybody has it. I think everyone has it. They just told me at the right time. This is the most recent, so I know it's a pattern for me. So I'm quite comfortable with it now. So and once it's not really a voice. It's a kind of feeling that strikes me inside my guts or something. I don't know. So I just went to the site where she looks for the jobs, and I saw something which she hadn't seen before. I told her, "Look, this is your job," and she, of course, she didn't believe. She didn't want to agree. So I did the application and everything, sent it out, and they called her for an interview. And she didn't prepare because it wasn't what she wanted to do or whatever. And then she did the interview and got the job, immediately. This is like less than 2 weeks ago. And the same pattern has been pushing me, all through my life. The same way is mainly intuition. So I have that part of me that is not normal. Well, I don't think it's normal because I've met a lot of people that say that they don't really experience that kind of thing in their lives, and it scares me sometimes. Well, it has always made me not feel comfortable around people. It has made me stay quiet most times because even if you know something is well, it's even worse than that because it has pushed me into alcoholism, so many bad things because I was trying to run away. I was trying to escape doing, how do I put it, living my life as it is. And I think I'm still trying to avoid it. I tried to I started walking on it. I started going into the spiritual life and everything, but I really don't know why I had to go back again, to go back into the material world. Yeah, so thanks for that.
Wow, Uchenna. I would dare say that it's quite normal in this room. I would go much further than that and tell you that what people normally call intuition, especially if what the the intuitor is hearing turns out to be beneficial in almost all cases, not necessarily perfectly in all cases. It's what we simply call, well, something we've all heard about. It's the Holy Spirit within us. The Course in Miracles teaches us that we have a split mind. And that mind is basically made of two parts. How we got there, it's part of the whole course, but basically there is the ego, and the ego is what gets us into trouble most of the time. It's stinking thinking, it's stinking talking, and other things like that, and it's self-deprecating, I should say. It's like, who needs this? I don't need this stuff. And the ego wants to fight for our littleness and to make us get smaller and smaller and smaller in our environment, in our importance, in our ability to do things that could really make the world a little bit better. You simply went with your intuition, you filled the form out, and your wife got the job. That's only a good thing. She has a job. She may find she doesn't like it and find something better someday. That's okay too. This will fill in. But you helped her with that intuition. To me, what people call intuition is simply the Holy Spirit within us that is trying to, well, it's there. It's always been there since before the beginning of time. And it was installed by God when we all decided to play this ego game, which in a way of thinking about it, it's kind of like when Adam ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Everything was perfect and good before that. All of a sudden, after that apple, he said, there's some things here that ain't so good. Well, I can declare what they are, but then they got out of bounds. There's too many of those things, and we lost the ambiance, there it is again, that we had in that Garden of Eden. I want to be back there. And when I listen to the intuitive voice that I do hear, and many of us also hear, then I'm getting some good, orderly directions. And if you've ever been in a 12-step group, they always like to use good, orderly directions as it is the acronym of God. And we get good, orderly directions. And it's delivered to us through the Holy Spirit, by the Holy Spirit, within every single one of us, as soon as we push aside some of the ridiculous things that make us small. We're not small beings. We're huge beings trying to find out how come it ain't working out the way we think it ought to. How come every day isn't Christmas? And I think that you're right on target, but somebody fed you a line of you-know-what that says you're just not really that good. You have an intuition, so what? Who knows whether it's good or bad? Well, they don't. But that doesn't mean that you won't. Yeah, listen to that intuition. Let that intuition guide you until you find out, for whatever reason, that particular voice is not leading you well. I don't think you'll find out that. I think you'll find that that small, quiet voice has a whole lot more power in it than the loud voice which says, don't stop till you win. You got to be the first. You got to be the best. You got to be the highest. All that kind of stuff. Just be you. This very same thing you're looking for. You are already you. I can guarantee you. Now you have to learn which voices to listen to, which can help your life get a little bit better today. And this meeting has been going on for about 2 hours. I think this is extremely important, what I'm saying. I do. I think that. I don't argue for my littleness. If I believe something strongly, I will say it and speak it that way. I don't have to be timid anymore. I've done that. At the age of 77, I don't have to be timid anymore. And I invite you to be the same. Let your voice out. We all have to find that voice. we all have that voice, each in our own way. The man, many people who come to this room often have heard me say this, the man who wrote the seven, I'm going to get it, highly effective, the 7 habits of highly effective people, wrote another book which had the 8th habit, and that is find your voice and help others to find theirs. That's what I'm doing right now. I'd love to hear more about your life, Yuchana, because all I can hear so far is that you've got a lot of the pieces already, but people have made you wonder about it. Is this really me? Well, they all said that's not a good thing. My sister was a psychic. She was a practitioner of intuition, and she even proved with an actual scientific test she did with her husband. She sent a message to her husband who was in an airplane, and he got the message clearly. That wasn't the miracle. The miracle was he didn't even know it was being sent till a half an hour later, and he thought, well, time is supposed to be not that important. If the message went out, maybe I can still pick it up. And he wrote it down a half an hour later, accurately. So trust your intuition, or at least listen real carefully. Try it out. Give it some legs. See what happens. That might be a good lesson for today as well. It says, I will not value what is valueless. That's what we're reminding ourselves of. And let me perceive forgiveness as it is. And maybe it's a way of forgiving ourselves for keeping ourselves little. None of us is little in this room. I am complete for today. Thank you all for being here. I'll stick around for a little bit more and see what happens.
Hey there, guys. I got brought into a meeting that I wasn't expecting. I hope you guys are still there. Well, might be just time to wrap everything up here.
I think everybody's thinking.
Oh, thank you. I didn't know what was going on. I was somewhere else entirely.
Well, I just talked a little bit about intuition and what to do about it.
Gotcha.
And if you start to bust out of your chrysalis, keep on going, man. Keep on going.
Yeah, don't stop. Don't stop. All right. Well, I have a whole bunch of work to do, so I'm gonna get busy. And shall I close this room? We done in here?
I think so. Everybody
Okay.
has things to think about.
Everybody have a fantastic day. We'll be here tomorrow. Love you all. Bye, guys.